Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mariah and here on the channel I post physio and lifestyle related content. So if you're interested in that, subscribe and notification bell all so you never miss a video. This video, I originally intended for it to be a walkthrough for me to like screen record my computer of me filling in an HCPC application. I've attempted to make a dummy account, but it did not work. Because I need to verify some things and because my data is already in the system, I'm unable to do it. So I thought the next best option is to talk through the different sections with you. Obviously you can find this information on the HCPC site, but I thought I would still make the video anyway because I said I would, and I would just let you know the sections that you can kind of pre-fill in literally ages before. Setting up an application is pretty easy. You just go onto the HCPC site and you're like, hey, what's cool? Register that I want to apply kind of thing. And even if it's like months out, I mean, I've had my account for a few months now, before I could even apply. And it was more just because I was like, while I remember to do it, let me get the ball rolling now versus when my grade dropped, because I knew I wouldn't be in the country at the time. So I wanted to get a rough idea of what the application required of me. So you can set that up pretty easy, put your email address in, etc., and it sends you that. And when you put your phone number in, so every time I log in, for example, obviously I put like my email, my password in, but then I also have to verify my identification via a code they text me, and obviously the code's never the same. So yeah, like that's just something you can set up, and you can go in and pre-fill out some of the information to make the process faster when you get to that point. So there's about, depending on if you're international, I think there are like 5 or 6 steps. So the first step is like simple questions that you'd expect, like have you been registered HCPC before, those kind of questions, like have you been denied by HCPC, things like that. You get those types of questions initially, and then you go into like your personal details, like your name, your address, etc. I would show you mine obviously, but like it's got my personal detail in there, and from what I've noticed, the application portal area changes once you have your approval. So there's additional information on there that was not on there at the time of my applying. So yeah, sorry, I would have loved to have done it with you guys, but at the same time I was like, I'm not in the country and I'm very stressed. So yeah, anyway, so you put like your personal details in there, like home address, phone number, etc., email, blah 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 blah, that kind of stuff. That's all good. You can get that all pre-done obviously, because you don't need anything else. The only thing you do need in terms of confirming your address and your identification is you do need 2 certified documents. So I went for my driving license because it has my address on it, and I also went for my passport because it can confirm my identity. Obviously you could use your driving license as a way to confirm your identity, but then obviously you can't use your passport, so you would have to use like a bank statement from within the last, I think it's like 5 or 6 months, to prove your address. These need to be certified. Now by certified, when I think of certified, I assume these need to have like, for example, say I bank with HCPC. HCPC, Jesus Christ. HCBC, HSBC, jeez. Oh my god, I'm tired. Say I bank with HSBC. I see, well, I thought certified meant if I go to the bank and ask them to print it out for me, as long as it has the HSBC banner on the top, that's a certified document, it's legal, I didn't just forge it. Well, what they mean by certified is that you have a certified healthcare professional look at the physical version of your identification, but then you have them signed a copy of your identification with the statement that they give you to get the person to sign. And I think it's like, I, Mariah, a healthcare professional, and you say like what your position is. Certify like, but basically like, I can confirm that I've seen the physical legit version of these the documents that I am signing for on this date and da 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 da. And if you do it early, this bit, I don't know how early looks too early. Like I did mine, when did I fly out? I did mine just under, I think, 3 weeks. I got mine signed just under 3 weeks before I actually applied, because like I said, I wasn't in the country, so I got all the paperwork and everything sorted before. So you can get that, like someone, either line someone up to be like, hey, I'm allowed to certify my documents at some point. Would you be willing to do that for me? And then, cool. There is a list on the HCPC site of people that are allowed to sign it. Obviously, it can't be like, oh, my mom's a nurse, so my mom can sign it because she's a certified healthcare professional. No, like, you can't do that. So that's one thing you've got to do, because that was one thing that I think a few people forgot, and it's like delayed their whole process. The next section, they will ask you about like your health and like your fitness to practice, if you have any disabilities, etc. So that section doesn't take too long. They ask you like, do you have any heart conditions? Do you have this and that? And don't get me wrong, obviously it will factor into things, but like for the most part, you should be fine. You should really be fine. The next bit is basically just like, so they're asking you stuff about work. I skipped this section because even though I had my job lined up at the time, I was like, until I've signed a contract, I'm not going to jump the gun, so to speak, and be like, yeah, I work there, when contractually wise I don't yet. So that's something that you might want to be mindful of. If you have a job lined up, do you put it in there? Do you not put it in there? It's really up to you. I don't think it matters really, because when you go through the registration list, some people have their jobs listed, but the majority don't have like where they're based listed on there. So it's up to you. For me, as a privacy thing, if I don't have to do it, I will not do it. But yeah. Anyway, next section, they're going to ask you about your education and your training. So that's like where you studied, for example, and if you have any additional training on top of that. So that bit you can fill in as early as you like. Good thing about Birmingham, I'm not sure if every uni does it this way, but what Birmingham did is when the grades were released, they sent us an email being like, grades are released, you can now apply to HCPC. And what that meant is you could then submit your application, and when HCPC asks for like verification of your documents in terms of your grades, the uni has already submitted a list of people who passed the degree to HCPC, so then it sped up the process. So I got my application approved and me officially registered within 3 days of me applying. And I think what may have helped may have been the timing that I applied, but also the fact that I had completed the process, completed everything apart from signing the declaration basically until the grades had dropped. So, you know, it made things a lot easier because I was already in the system. Now, they have a section for people outside the UK. I didn't go through that section because it asks you pretty early on, like, where are you based, kind of thing, your address, etc. So I didn't put that on there. They have a section not just for those based out of the UK, but those who studied outside the UK. Again, I didn't look into that because I studied in the UK. But after you complete all of that, you go to the end where you have to fill in your declaration, basically saying that everything I've given you information-wise isn't false to my knowledge, the best of my knowledge. I haven't lied to you, blah, 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 blah. The bog standard stuff. So yeah, that's how you apply to HCPC. I know it wasn't the video that I initially promised, but you know, these things get in the way. But yeah, if you want to talk about any of it, and be like, hey, and no, before you ask, I will not be certifying people's documents. I had someone ask me that. And yeah, sorry, no. Don't really feel comfortable doing that at this point in my career, as I've just started. So yeah, but I wish you all the best. Good luck with it. It's not too bad. Once they send you the email saying that, hey, you've been approved, like your application's been approved, that's when you pay. So don't worry if you submit your application and you don't see something come through for payment. They have to review everything first. I think that's the best way to do it, rather than making you pay for something and then you potentially get declined, which obviously we hope is not going to happen to any of you guys. But, you know, just in case of anything, it's always better to be safe than sorry. If you're applying in the last, wait, I can't remember, I don't know if it was months. So basically, if you graduated a couple months ago, or you finished your degree a couple months ago, you're entitled to the discount for HCPC. So the discount basically means the price I paid covers me for the first, I think, 2 years, if I'm correct. I'm not completely sure, I can't remember. But basically, I get a discount compared to paying the full price if I had applied at a later stage. And I'm like, well, so some people, obviously, you may choose to apply at a later stage because you don't intend on working right away. But if I were you, if let's say I finished in August, which I did, but I decided I wasn't going to start working until January, I would probably still apply for it, even though it means wherever you're gonna have to apply for your next 2 years sooner, and you may end up being called up for the CPD audit, like the next round potentially, and you may not have that much experience at that point in time. But I'm like, I think for the discount, it's worth it. It's only, I mean, it's a half price discount, so these things add up. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling, but hopefully this was helpful, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Bye guys.